Alright guys, how are we doing today? My name is the Crown Fiend and here we go with another video. But before we get started, just wanna say a few things and get this out of the way a little bit. So I'm sorry that I didn't meet the double upload for yesterday, so instead it's double upload today. And you will notice that by the time you're watching this video, another video should have already been out or is going to be put out. I don't know how these are going to get uploaded yet because I'm literally just now sitting down to record them. And yeah, so with that out of the way, once again, sorry I wasn't able to reach double upload like promised, but hey. And today we're doing something a little bit different. Today we're doing 2 final episodes, just because I really want to just get these done and get them out of the way. I know those of you who are wanting Demi-Fiend, just hold on for about one more day. Just one more day and you'll have a Demi-Fiend video. Promise. And yeah, so today's schedule is what if Deku was the reincarnation of Grimmjow, final, and what if Deku had Hamon, final. So those are the two ones that are going to be wrapped up today. So you guys have waited long enough for this Grimmjow finale, so let's get to it. Now, where we last left off, we were in Waco Mundo with Reiko and Aizen fixing to fight against Neliel and Deku. With Deku in his Resurrection form, and the time's ticking down that he can maintain it, since this is the first time he's ever really entered it, because, you know, all his time training with Nell, he was able to grasp the concept of it and put it into practice, but he's never actually done the Resurrection before. So he's not really all that experienced or powerful, as Aizen is ready to kill them both right then and there. But first, Aizen is actually telling Deku, you know, I know that you never want to bow down before me, but did you ever consider that maybe I orchestrated all of this? That I'm the one who made sure you'd be Grimmjow's reincarnation? That I specifically chose Grimmjow to be your reincarnation, simply for the fact of the matter is that he was the king of Waco Mundo. So perhaps I chose you to be his reincarnation to make you bow before me, to make him bow down to me once again in his new life. And once again, if you do bow down and submit to me, I will spare you and your family. As Reiko says, are you sure? As basically Aizen says, well, if he doesn't, he'll die. So let's see how much pride he's got. As Deku would, you know, just immediately, without even skipping a beat, yell at him that I'm never gonna kneel down before you. I never submit. I don't know who the fuck you think you are, but this isn't the person to be fucking with. As Aizen just says, a shame, but I knew you would say that. As he draws his Zanpakuto and lunges straight for Deku, as Nell pushes him out of the way because Aizen's so fast that Deku can't even he can't comprehend Aizen's speed, as that causes Nell to lose an arm. As Nels cries out in pain as Deku looks, seeing his master be disarmed, literally. As Nell is shocked with just how much more powerful Aizen's gotten over the centuries. As Aizen just finishes what he was doing, it's not even a fight. It's just a one-sided butchery. As Nell gets cut down right in front of Deku. Cut clean in half. As Nell's body hits the floor as Deku just watches as Aizen stabs into Nell's skull with his sword for the finishing blow. As Deku loses all sense of reasoning, as he charges straight at Aizen as Reiko gets right in the way, but Deku's rage is giving him so much of an amp right now. Tears flowing down his face. He can't even form words. It's just like growling at this point as he's just tearing away, has no form of fighting, just letting his instincts run wild as Pantera's keeping up and making sure Deku isn't really falling behind as he's covering for it, letting the instincts take over him. Deku's able to pull off moves he's never even thought of as he shoots out more of those deals out of his elbow, and he immediately just keeps tearing into Reiko. Eventually, he breaks her Bankai as she's mortified. No one's even been able to match her Bankai except for Lord Aizen. And this Hollow is able to break it? This shouldn't be possible. As Deku tears into Reiko, as he punctures a hole straight through her and rips her in half. As Reiko dies, blood staining the sand of Hueco Mundo. As Deku looks, searching for Aizen, as that's when Aizen comes up, grabs him, and then slams him into the ground, foot against the back of his head, as Aizen says, "I'll let you live a little while longer. After all, you did kill my subordinate. While I shouldn't let you live, I will. But I'm not letting you out of Hueco Mundo." As he puts a seal on Deku, which temporarily puts him into the higher part of Hueco Mundo, basically where Grimmjow trapped Ulquiorra. And that's where Deku's locked up at, temporarily. Not permanently, but he's going to be up there for a little bit. As all this is going down, actual time is passing in the real world. So the whole deal with the sports festival, it's over. Because Deku's in there for days, weeks, even months at this point, to where the training camp has been done, it's over with. Mirko's very much determined to find Deku, and Burnin is as well, but they just can't find him. As Aizen, he's back in the Soul Society chilling, and Deku's still trapped. As Deku's thinking, he's getting more and more training in, learning to perfect his Resurrection, learning to get the power that Grimmjow once had to be considered the king of Hueco Mundo once more. And personally, he wants a way to tear the fuck out of his prison, as he's trying, as all he can remember is the fight, Nell dying in an instant, him being so furious and tearing Reiko in half. That's all he remembers, and that's all that's driving him. As the real world, again, it's getting to the point to where they're at Overhaul. Remember, the whole League of Villains thing, Shigaraki died, and All For One, he would still try to launch his assault, and while that would happen, it would ultimately lead All Might right back to him, and that would cause a huge fight where I'm actually just gonna go ahead and say, All Might would kill All For One, and basically All Might would go into his retirement, and Endeavor would become the #1 hero. All that stuff would still happen. It's just that there wouldn't be nobody running the League of Villains anymore. It'd be expunged, as Overhaul would be the last big threat they have. And around that time, that's actually when Deku would break down the wall and his barrier, as he would actually say, "Thanks, I understand now." As he would come out bearing the number 6 on his back. As he would start walking, as hollows everywhere would start charging at him, wanting him to prove himself, as Deku would rip them apart easily. He's not even thinking about it. It's just his pure animalistic instincts taking over. Because he's trained for months at this point with nothing but his rage and instincts. Pantera beating the hell out of him in his internal world until Deku fully relied on instincts and only his instincts. He wouldn't really try to go and start thinking about a fight. He would just fight, as the anger that would be inside of him would make sure that if he ever sees Aizen again, no, when he sees Aizen again, he's going to kill him. As that's what Deku thinks, but with Aizen being immortal, yeah, not really gonna happen too much. But Deku would actually go back to the point to where him and Nell, disappeared from back into Hueco Mundo, as he would be having, pretty much the same control that Nell had over Hueco Mundo, ripping open a tear into the sky and stepping out, as he would go back to his actual real world. And the first thing he'd do is flash step over to his parents to make sure they were alright, since Aizen had mentioned them. As he would see his mother and father there, shocked at seeing him, but happy nonetheless, as they would hug him and be so proud that their son's back, and they'd be just so happy. As Inko would say, "You don't have to be a hero anymore, right?" And Deku would say, "No, I'm done being a hero. And I just came to say goodbye." As Inko would be looking worried, as Hisashi would say, "Goodbye, but you just come back. Do you not know how long it's been?" As Deku's like, "Go ahead, fill me in." As Hisashi would tell him everything that's happened, the months he's been missing. And that's when Deku says, "Oh, well, don't worry about it. As soon as I finish my business here, I'm done. I'm not coming back. I have a goal. I know where I need to go, and I'm not going to stop until I reach it." As basically, he would then disappear right in front of his parents. He would move so fast they wouldn't even be able to tell when he left. As he would appear in Mirko's office with Aizawa freaking out, as he would run and hug his one-time student. As Deku would catch Aizawa up to speed, and Aizawa would realize that, yeah, he can't stay. He has unfinished business that needs to be taken care of. And Aizawa says, "And that's why I'm going with you." As Deku says, "No, I can't allow you to come with me." And Aizawa says, "I'm not asking, I'm telling you." As Deku would say, "You won't be able to help in this fight whatsoever." Aizawa says, "That may be true, but where you're going, if you're going to be the king of some place, I'm imagining you're going to need a lot of help running that kingdom." And that's when Deku really just says, "Alright, if you want to be my subject of Hueco Mundo, then I'll accept you." As Aizawa grins and says, "Is it nice and quiet?" Deku says, "Mostly." Aizawa says, "Define mostly." And Deku says, "The only time it's noisy is when I'm fighting." Aizawa says, "How often do you fight there?" Deku says, "Not that often." Aizawa just says, "It'll be perfect." As Deku says, "Yeah, there's a big castle too, so you can really just take it easy." And Aizawa says, "Even more perfect." As that's when Mirko would come out of her office and she would look and just drop everything she was doing, all her paperwork and everything, and run and try to punch Deku. Deku would just catch it, as he would just say, "Sorry, but I'm a lot better of a fighter than last time." As she says, "I can tell," as you know, it was like instantaneous. He didn't even have the time to think, and he just caught it so effortlessly. Mirko knows what he's achieved, like perfect synchronicity with your instincts, huh? Deku would say, "Yes. I just came here to let you know I'm alright, and that, you know, that girl that attacked me, I killed her." As basically, Mirko would just be like, "I understand." So, Deku leaves once again, as he says he'll be back to get Aizawa, but he's got to make a quick pit stop first. As he heads over to where Burning is, as he knocks on her door. She opens up because she's quit being a hero ever since Deku disappeared and never came back. As she sees him, the first instinct she gets is to slap the hell out of him. And Deku actually has to fight his instincts on not to fight back. Meaning, Burnin slaps Deku. And Deku says, "I probably deserve that." As she says, "You left me for months. You didn't come back. Why?" And that's when Deku tells her everything. She starts to break down. Deku catches her as he takes her inside. He sits her down on the couch as he sits down with her. As he looks her in the eyes, and he still has to tell her the most painful part. As he says, "I'm going to be leaving, and I'm not coming back ever again." As basically Burnin is destroyed hearing that. She says that she just got him back and he's going to be leaving. Why? And Deku says, "I have to kill Aizen or die trying. One way or another, that motherfucker's going to pay or feel every last ounce of my rage." As she says, "How are you going to do that? He's in the Soul Society, right? How are you even going to get there?" As he holds up the key to the butterfly gate that Reiko had. As she's like, "Wait, why didn't Aizen take that?" As Deku says, "Because he wants me to follow him. And I'm going to give him exactly what he wants. He's the one that planned out everything. Every moment of my life. From the time I was born, the mutation and birth defect that I had that turned my hair this color, to me being Grimmjow's reincarnation, everything. It was all Aizen's plan." As basically Burnin just says, "Was it his plan for us to fall in love too?" As Deku says, "I don't know. I can't second guess myself anymore." As Burnin says, "Well, if you're a king, you're gonna need a queen." And Deku says, "Are you sure?" And Burnin says, "What else do I have here? A pitiful life, one that's not gonna lead anywhere. There's nothing holding me here. Nothing." As Deku says, "I can't risk Aizen killing me and then coming to kill you or anything." As Burnin slaps him again and says, "You fucking retard. If you ever think about immediately losing or dying to that heartless bastard, I will never forgive you." As Deku looks at her and just says, "The fuck?" As Burnett says, where's that confident man that I fell in love with? Did he die? As Deku just says, you have no idea the hell I've been through these past few months. I watched Nell die. I was trapped in an area of Waco Mundo I didn't even know existed for months. So don't you ever say anything about how I used to be. As Vernon stands up and says, and what about my suffering? Or does that not matter to you? As Deku says, you lost your job. So what? As Vernon says, I didn't just lose my damn job. I lost a mentor same as you. Only fucked up part is, I didn't even get the chance to help. I didn't get the chance to fight. No, you two ran off and left me. So, how do you think I feel finding out she's dead? You were trapped in hell for months and I couldn't do shit about it. And on top of that, now you're moving to Waco Mundo and don't want me to fucking come with you. As Deku would really just say, fine, whatever, let's go if you're gonna go. As Vernon says, let's just go. I don't need to pack nothing. As Deku says, fine. As he grabs Vernon, as he flash steps back to Mirko's office, and Aizawa's pretty much got everything packed up. He's got his sleeping bag, he's got everything else, so he's pretty much good. As Mirko asks him, were you keeping all your stuff here at my office? As Aizawa says, oh no, just the important stuff. As Mirko's just like, what about the rest of your stuff? As Aizawa throws her the key to his apartment and says, make sure you feed my fish. As basically Mirko's just like, your fish? As Deku arrives, as he says, you ready? And Aizawa says, yeah, I'm ready. Let's go. As pretty much Deku opens up the hole to Waco Mundo once more, as he gets up there with Aizawa and Vernon, as he heads to the castle to rest up and recuperate, with allowing Vernon and Aizawa to settle into their new life in Waco Mundo, as Aizawa finds the pressure to be absolutely crushing, as he's just like, it's gonna take a while to get used to this. As Deku says, oh yeah, but you'll be alright. As Aizawa pretty much just gets in a sleeping bag and he goes to Stark's old room, and because it's the one with all the pillows in it, as he pretty much just sleeps in there for the foreseeable future. Aizawa is finally in a place where he can just rest for all eternity, and he couldn't be happier. He grabbed a bottle of booze and just started drinking and sleeping, as he's just like, this is what retirement should be. As he pretty much just says, do whatever you gotta do. As Deku starts walking through the castle, as he never really had the opportunity to fully explore it before, and now he's doing it with Vernon. As Deku looks around, and Vernon can tell he's just distraught, a bit confused even, when they pass by the shower and then they get to a room. As Deku says, this is the room that Nil stayed in. As basically Vernon pulls Deku inside and says, then it'll be our room. As Deku says, our? And Vernon just looks at him and says, if you're king, I'm queen. Get that through your head. Kings and queens sleep together. Understand? It's part of the role of being a king is that you get every part of the queen. As Deku's just like, sure, but let's just do that after I kill Aizen. As Vernon says, oh no, you're not making me wait anymore. As Vernon throws Deku onto the floor, as she starts undressing Deku, as Deku just says, "Alright, you win." As Burnin undresses herself, as she's getting ready to just have her way with Deku. She's waited on him for months at this point, and she pretty much just says that this will help you out too. As her and Deku start having sex, and it's just like, Deku is really just like letting Burnin do what she's gonna do, as she's riding on top of him, as everything's just overflowing Deku's mind, because in his mind this is both the best feeling in the world, but also the heaviest of burdens on top of him, because not only is he feeling great, but now he knows that if Burnin gets pregnant and he goes to fight Aizen and loses, then she's gonna have to raise a kid pretty much by herself, because Aizawa, ever since he got here, he's not been in the best shape to really help with that. But at the same time, like, he just caves in and says that he won't lose no matter what. As Burnin says, "What?" As Deku throws her over and starts taking control back, as he goes harder and faster with each passing thrust into Burnin. She starts to moan so loud it echoes throughout the entire castle, even into Aizawa's room. As Aizawa's pretty much just like, oh god, he should have brought headphones. But, Deku switches Burnin to doggy style as he pulls her hair and, just keeps on going until they're both satisfied. As that's done, basically Burnin is passed out from exhaustion, as Deku's not. He lays there with Burnin, looking her over again, as he can see every scar that she ever had from battle with Nell, and he just imagines all the other emotional scars that she could have, as he just holds her close and says once again, "I won't lose, no matter what." As pretty much Deku gets up after she's fast asleep, leaving pillows where he used to be. He gets dressed and he heads to the Soul Society, where Aizen will be waiting for him. As pretty much when Deku gets out there and opens up the Butterfly Gate, he passes through it, and as soon as he gets to where it opens up again, he sees the Soul Society for the first time. As he looks down and looks at all the Soul Reapers, saying that there's a lot more of them than he ever thought. As they see Deku, as they're immediately just like, "It's a hollow." Immediately alert Aizen, as basically Aizen is the head of the Gote 13, aka the 13 Court Guard Squad, as basically all the other Soul Reapers are coming at Deku. Deku cracks his neck and says, "Let's do this." As he immediately just starts tearing through the guards with his bare hands. Man after woman just keeps falling to this man, as he just runs constantly through them, as they can do nothing to stop his onslaught. Blood is going everywhere as he's killing each and every Soul Reaper. As some of them are starting to surround him, he whips out his Zanpakuto and starts slashing them all. As now he's able to cover all of his blind spots. His perfect instinct control is allowing him greater speed and attack timing without having to think. It's instantaneous, as he's cutting through all of them as he gets to the lieutenants, as none of the lieutenants that were around at the previous 13 guard squads are there anymore, as they're just tearing through them all, as pretty much there's this old man, a really old man, watching outside, one with tattoos down his face and a long sword, as he says, to hell with it, as he throws his, cane down and runs in there, as pretty much all the guards are dead. Anyone can really just walk up in there, as Deku dodges a sword coming straight at him, one with jagged edges, as he immediately backs away, as the old man says, you're dealing with an ex-lieutenant of the 13 court guard squads. The name's Renji Abarai. Nice to fucking meet ya. As Deku just says, you're not the person I'm here for. As pretty much Renji says, oh, let me guess, you're here for Sosuke. As pretty much Deku just says, if that's Aizen, then you'd be right on the money. As Renji says, if that's the case, I don't mind helping you get there to him. As pretty much Deku's just like, really? Renji says, sure. Bankai! As he triggers his Bankai, as Deku rides it all the way up to where Aizen is. And yeah, I'm giving Renji his older Bankai, not the newer one he got. His older one. That works just fine. And don't ask for any real reason behind that. I just think it'd be better for the story in this scenario. So, yeah. Anyway, so Deku gets up there to where Aizen's at, as he says, well, the old man pretty much kept his word. So, let's have some fun. As Aizen says, oh, have you come to kneel before me? As Deku would just look at him and says, you still on that shit? Fuck off. I'm here to kill you. And that's when Aizen would tell him, well, that's impossible, I'm afraid. As basically Deku would be like, oh, and why is that? As Aizen would say, because I possess the Hogyoku. Right here, inside my very being. It's fused within me. And it keeps me alive. Even immortal, like I say. There's no way you could ever kill me. As that's when Deku just is overcome with rage, and he says, then I guess I'll die trying. As he charges straight at Aizen, as pretty much he would cut into Aizen and Aizen would cut into him. It would be a back and forth as Deku goes into his Resurrection, and right when he's about to do one of his attacks, Aizen just cuts right through it and slices down his armored self that he is in his Resurrection form, as Deku would scream out in pain and snarl at Aizen, as Aizen would just tell him, I have way too many years of experience for you to ever defeat me. There's nothing you can do. I'm sorry. As Deku would keep fighting, but as the fight dragged on, Deku would lose more and more ground. It would be near impossible for him to come back, as that's when Aizen just holds the sword to Deku's throat, and Deku just looks at him and says, I don't give a fuck what you do. You ain't gonna stop shit. As Aizen says, stop what? And that's when Renji would appear, as he would say, stop this, as he would swing his sword at Aizen, and Aizen would just cut down Renji right then and there, as Deku would hold Aizen, as he would just say, you're not getting away, as Aizen would say, "You really don't learn, do you?" As he would reveal that it's actually Renji that Deku is holding on to. As Deku's eyes grow wide. And pretty much, Aizen tells him, "You didn't know shit about my Zanpakuto's ability. Now die for your arrogance." As he stabs straight through Deku. And we're not talking about just in the stomach, chest, no. He stabs straight through Deku's throat. He's making no excuse for any type of comeback, no. He just stabs straight through Deku's throat, killing him. As Deku falls, he looks back as his life flashes before his eyes, and all he does is smile. Tears flow down his face as he says, "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I have to leave you." As he flips off Aizen and hits the ground, where every other Soul Reaper that's still standing stabs straight through Deku, impaling him with 100 blades. As Deku just bleeds out right there, dying in the Soul Society. And that's what happens if Deku was the reincarnation of Grimmjow. Thank you for watching.